2023 was the best year for gaming since the Xbox 360 era. Great year, but it also makes it really hard to vote for Game of the Year. It also causes a lot of controversy when it comes to what games get nominated. Guys, before we get started, I just want to point out that 90% of you guys that watch my videos aren't subscribing, so if you click the subscribe button, it would help my channel immensely. And also, if you like my votes or if you agree with anything that I'm saying, make sure you like and maybe comment. Let me know what you think too. Game of the Year, recognizing that a game delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. And here's the lineup. It looks like we've got Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That's gonna upset quite a few fans of some games that launched this year that probably deserve to be on this list. Now, a lot of people are upset that Hogwarts Legacy is not included in this discussion. And I have to say that this game was backpacked by the Harry Potter universe quite a bit. Because let's be honest, if the Harry Potter universe didn't exist in this game, it would probably be a C+ game at best. Not as many people would be talking about it, and it really didn't actually break the mold for anything that's revolutionary for an open world RPG. I loved it. I put about 90 hours into this game. I finished it, as I said, and I just thought it was a really fun game. Now, of course, you can look at games like Spider-Man 2, and you can say pretty much the same exact thing about it. It's in a Marvel universe, and if it wasn't in a Marvel universe that replicated New York City and Spider-Man's world, then maybe people wouldn't have liked it as much. And I completely agree. But before I get hung up, Hogwarts Legacy isn't even nominated for a single award outside of Game of the Year. It's completely left out for art direction, best RPG, puzzle solving, anything. It's just completely siloed from every game that launched this year, and I think it deserves more respect. Now, this game, on the other hand, I don't know what happened. I think that Starfield actually did create its own universe from the very beginning. The whole premise of Starfield is a brand new IP, and there's literally not a single brand new IP in Game of the Year's nominations, which is actually kind of sad. There's a lot of controversy surrounding not only Bethesda games, but also the Microsoft, Blizzard, and Bethesda buyouts that put a really sour taste in people's mouth. Sure, it might be a little slow at start, but what game that has 1,000 procedurally generated planets and 100 universes wouldn't start off kind of slow? It's a lot to take in. Personally, I feel as if Bethesda RPGs are just a little bit of an acquired taste overall, which kind of actually holds it back. And not to mention the fact that the game was not really well received by a lot of people, with some negative Steam reviews and a lot of glitches that were included in the game. But people are completely overlooking the idea that this game was not a sequel to a game or even an established IP, that they had to build this from the very ground up. And it makes me very sad that there's a bunch of Baldur's Gate 3 and Resident Evil 4, which is a remake of an already existing fourth entity of Resident Evil. When we're talking about creativity and innovation and all the things that actually require you to be a Game of the Year, Starfield actually hits that on the head just a little bit better than I think that Resident Evil 4 remake does. I personally don't think that even if they did get nominated, Hogwarts Legacy or Starfield would have probably never been voted for Game of the Year. While I appreciate and love both of those games, I just don't feel as though that they would have been popular or strong enough to be able to compete with this list of games. However, for Hogwarts Legacy, it's weird to me that they're not even in any discussion at all, where Starfield is at the very least involved in the RPG of the year. In Starfield's case, I just believe that this game was just, in my opinion, fitting the criteria of being Game of the Year by definition, just way more than Resident Evil 4. But that doesn't matter because that doesn't really necessarily fix the polls. So let's take a look at all these games, and I'm going to vote for the Game of the Year, in my opinion, working with what we've got. Alan Wake 2, I need to play it, admittingly. I watched a lot of gameplay of it. I watched 2 different people stream it in its entirety and watched the YouTube videos. I need to play this game. I think it looks incredible. Baldur's Gate 3 really isn't for me, and I know a lot of people say that, but in all honesty, I'm never going to play this game. You can tell me that I just need to try it. I'm never going to try it. I watched a lot of people play it. Shout out to John. I always watch John play this game. It's really good. Marvel Spider-Man 2, personally, I feel as if these 2 games really come from really fun and exciting universes that don't really backpack, like I said, about Harry Potter. And this game is kind of backpacked by the idea that it's Stan Lee's invention. It's Marvel, it's fun. And it was already Game of the Year in the first time, so people are going to be looking at it and really expecting a lot from it. Now, I'm going to come back to Spider-Man 2 and just talk about the fact that Resident Evil 4 is a remake of a 4th edition of Resident Evil. I probably won't be voting for that, although I do like the Resident Evil franchise as a whole. I just don't think that this really fits the criteria that was described that is Game of the Year. Now, Super Mario Bros., very accessible game, very fun game. You can literally do anything with Super Mario Bros. I'm not surprised that it's in here. The Nintendo Switch is also a really versatile platform, and I just think that it's probably just utilized extremely well here. Tears of the Kingdom. This is where I'm going to compare to Spider-Man 2. Tears of the Kingdom has a bottom universe, a top universe, and literally a sky universe. And by that, I mean Hyrule is ground level. Then underneath of Hyrule, there is a city that lives underneath of it that is just as big as ground level Hyrule. And it is just as fun, except like you have to do all of these things and work and navigate that area completely differently than you would on sea level. Then you have above ground level with the sky cities and the sky universe that has, I mean, this is just so much bigger of an expansion when it comes to just sheerly even talking about the map than talking about a couple bureaus added to New York City. Then you talk about the creativity. It comes to like all the shrines and how you can find like a million different ways to do all of these different shrines. The bosses are amazing. The dialogue is very fun. Combat is immersive. It takes a crazy amount of creativity inside of this game just to like combine items and make your own vehicles even. I think that the new mechanics that they gave Link to be able to like jump through items and like the way that you navigate the world on foot even is just like, it's so much of an improvement from Breath of the Wild that you can barely say that it's the same game ever. In this case, the game did have a lot of really cool features like a new fast travel system, forward the story just a little bit more. The fast travel looks really good. The graphics are very seamless. I just think that in terms of like this being a sequel and this kind of being like a silent sequel, Tears of the Kingdom just blows every single game in here out of the water. And I think that I'm voting for Tears of the Kingdom here, guys. This was the best game I played in a long time, probably since Elden Ring. It gets my vote.